everybody. Welcome to Unlocking Lore, the storytelling podcast, storytelling live stream, in which I, your storyteller, Maria, tells you a story and we go on a journey together. I hope you guys had an amazing week. I certainly have. It has been quite a journey. It has been very eventful. And I really hope that you guys are also, having a great week. It is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. And we got some surprises. The week is not over. It's amazing. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but without meaning to, the whole week for me has been one thing after the other. It's like Monday I had an activity. Tuesday I had an activity. Wednesday I had an activity. Today I have the live stream. Friday, I'm going to have another activity. Saturday, I'm also going to be joining another live stream for a little bit. Huge. Like, it's been a week. So, and also some pretty amazing stuff has been coming on. As you can see in the back right over there, you can check him out. He is right now drying his fingers. We have Count Dooku. Count Dooku is right in the back. As you can see, I have already sewn his head. I have clothed him. He is no longer butt naked. Okay. Unfortunately, I did have to, cover up his abs. He had some great abs. And also, I finished the hair at work. I didn't mean to, but it was a little bit bored, and I really wanted to, kind of finish him. So thankfully, that's, not a problem. So yeah, he is almost done now. I'm only needing the bell, the lightsaber, just the final details. I do have one big thing left, which is the cloak, which I will be sewing. That's going to be a new start for me because I learned how to sew last year, literally, and this will be my first big break with sewing. So I'm going to be sewing his cape, and after that, he is going to be finished. So that's one major thing that has happened. And the second major thing that has happened, I'm probably sure you guys want to know. You guys want to know, right? Well, let's see who's in there to see who wants to know. So, let me just, let's see who is in the chat, of course. It is Dreaming Tabitha. Sup, girl? Oh, it's so good to see you finally back in Unlocking Lore. You've been missing. Don't deny. You've been missing, the stories. You've been missing all that great stuff. It's so great to see you, Tabitha. And yes, I am wondering why. What is going to be tomorrow? So sorry about that. So that is yes. So I actually just a standard moderator. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So yeah. I got a little bit of that. Then we have my Govane Isildur's heir to the throne of Gondor, the Dunedain. Always lovely to see you. Always enjoying my stories. And we have the always loyal Sam Mathai. I hope this is a great start to your day with a great, nice chai. And so it's been a very busy week. So, my second thing that I do have is that, this is a big thing for me. I am finally going to be going to a Expo fan, a Comic-Con, but it's more than a Comic-Con because it's more than just comics. It's anime. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. And it's going to be like some really amazing people are going to be there. I'm talking about high high characters, high actors, voice actors. Today I was looking it up with my friends and we were like, "Oh my gosh, she's going to be here. Oh my gosh, she's going to be here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she's going to be here." So at this Expo Fan Toronto, Canada, so Hayden Christensen is going to be there. Zachary Levi, the actor that voiced Entangled, he's going to be there. Charlie Cox, the Daredevil himself, is going to be there. Ahsoka Tano's voice actress is going to be there. Christina Ricci is going to be there. Well, Millie Brownie is going to be there, but I really don't care that much. I mean, she's a nice actress, great, but it's like, not that great. Denny Trejo is going to be there, and Gates McFadden, the Dr. Crusher from Star Trek Next Generation. She's going to be there. It's going to be an amazing event. Of course, all the photo lineups are about $100 a piece, so I don't think I'll be able to get any photos. But I'm definitely going to start in a few projects. It's going to be an ambitious month because my objective is to create at least 4 characters of crochet. And I'm talking about Anakin Skywalker, Daredevil, Dr. Crusher, and I was thinking of a Sailor Moon, but I think I'm just going to go for a Scorpion or Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. We'll see what we get. Maybe I do need a Sailor Scout because there are 2 men and we need another woman. It's like Dr. Crusher and somebody else. Like, no. Maybe I'll do an Ahsoka Tano. Who knows? But very cool lineup. That is going to be a major event. So I will be live streaming. This is a good news. I will be live streaming on my Instagram account. So if you guys don't follow me there, do that right now. That's where I post almost all my well, not almost, like I post all my works, all my projects on my Instagram account. I do add some more music to make it nice. So go follow me there because I will be attending almost the 4 days. So I got a pack in which I have access to the 4 days. As you guys know, I have a 9 to 5 job. So it is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I will be live streaming everything from there. So go check me out over there. Besides, everything is in the link below. You guys know it. On Twitter, on Instagram. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for new content. This is the storytelling channel. So all my geeks, all my nerd stuff are on my Twitter and my Instagram account. So go to that over there. But tonight we have a very special story. This is a new story for me that I will be doing it for you. It is a Grimm's tale. It is a story about you could say human frailty, because we're all fragile, and some people, we seek redemption, we seek being better. This is definitely one of these stories. This is a Grimm's tale. As you guys know, the brothers Grimm did not write. They collected stories from the oral tradition and put them into volumes. This is one of their collected stories, which is called The Golden Bird. And I really hope you guys enjoy this. So without further ado, The Golden Bird.
In a world where legends come back to life and magic is in the air, we gather around to listen and delve deep into the lore. This is Unlocking Lore.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a king in a palace. And in his palace, there was a garden. And in this garden, there was a tree. And that tree would bear golden apples. So the king, as you probably know, was very, very jealous and very, very wary of how many apples they would have in each season. And each time he would ask his gardener to count these apples when the night was over. Now it came to pass that a few years into this gorgeous, you know, tree that bared golden apples, the gardener was surprised that when the apples were ripe, one night one would disappear. And then the next night, another one would disappear. And then another night, another would disappear. Where were they? What happened? He immediately went to report to the king. And the king said, "Nonsense! I want my golden apples. Find out who is stealing them." So he did. He asked his three sons, the gardener asked his three sons to watch out. So the eldest son offered his services. He went out that night into the castle, into the garden, sat down, and waited until the night came. But the eldest son was, a bit too, let's put it this way, he didn't really care. So before the clock struck 12, he fell asleep. And obviously, as you probably have guessed, the next morning, another apple had disappeared. The gardener went to his second son, asked him the same. The second son said, "Yes, of course, I will do this." And so he went to the castle, he went to the gardens, and at dusk he sat down and waited. And just like his elder brother, he fell asleep. And just like his elder brother, the next day, another apple had disappeared. And then finally, the third son, the youngest son, went to his father and offered his services. And the father was a little bit wary. Not that the boy was evil or bad or was going to, be harmed by something, but he had a soft spot. He didn't want him, to risk his life if something happened. But nevertheless, the boy, encouraged his father, and so the father relented and off he went. He sat down at dusk and waited. But unlike his brothers, he had taken a nap before. Therefore, he was fresh during the night. And when the clock struck 12, he heard a rustle of feathers. And lo, what did he see? A bird. A bird that came and started to look at all the apples. This was no ordinary bird. This was a golden bird. It was such a gorgeous sight. However, the young man took up his bow and his arrow. He wielded, he knocked it, and he shot. But the bird was quicker. And off he went, he flew, but the arrow did strike one feather. The bird flew away with an apple, but left the feather. So the boy picked it up and went to his home. And then the next day he reported to the king, saying how the bird had come, how was looking at all the apples and finally chose one. And when he left, he threw that arrow. He showed the king the golden feather. The king was astonished, and everybody in the court decided that that feather was worth more than all the riches of the kingdom. But the king wanted more. And he said, "Nonsense! I want the whole bird. Bring it to me." So the gardener's sons were entrusted with this task, and the eldest son said, "Father, I will do this." So he packed his things, got on his horse, and off he went. And he galloped and he galloped and galloped until he finally found a forest. And in went the eldest son into the forest. And he looked around, and he didn't see anything except a fox. And he was about to take that fox for its fur and its meat. He wielded his arrow and bow and ready until the fox said, "Stop, please. I know what you want. You want the golden bird, don't you?" The eldest son was struck as in how was it possible that a fox could talk? Yet the fox said, "I will help you. I will give you some advice. Follow this road all the way to the next village. There you will find two inns. One a shabby, ugly inn, the other one pleasant. But beware, do not go in to the pleasant one, but go into the shabby one." However, the eldest son didn't pay heed to this advice, and he used his bow and arrow and tried to hit the fox and kill it. However, the fox was cunning and faster, and he left. And off went the eldest son to the next village, where he did find two inns, one shabbier than the other. And then he looked at both of them, and then when he saw the pleasant one, he saw that there was, well, great merrymaking, great parties and feast. And he said, why would I go into a shabby one?" So he got off his horse and went into the nice, pleasant inn. And there he drank and he ate and he made merry, he made friends, all so much that he forgot his mission and his country. And time went by. Nothing was heard of the eldest son. So the second son offered his services and off he went. He went into the forest, found the fox. The fox gave him the same advice. However, the second son did not heed that advice. And off he went to the next village. And there he saw the shabby one, the shabby inn, and the nice pleasant inn. And oh, by the window was his elder brother. And he was laughing and dancing, and he looked at the window and he saw his second brother. And he bade him to come in. And of course, as you probably have guessed, the second son went in. Oh, it was a fantastic party. Much merrymaking, much music, much food, much drink. And he forgot his mission and his country. And time went by. And the third son offered his services. And because the gardener had already lost his two first sons, he was wary as to let the boy go. However, the boy insisted. So the father relented and he said, "Go." He packed his things, went onto his horse, and off he went on his way. And he came to the forest, and he came to the fox. The fox told him of the advice. But this time, the third son did not mean any harm to the fox. He thanked him, and off he went on his way to the next village. And he didn't even look at the pleasant inn. When he saw the shabby inn, he went directly to it. And he slept the night. And then the next morning he got up and he rode off. And on his path he found the fox again. "See, I told you. I told you you would come good if you followed my advice. Now get off your horse. Come, I will take you. It will be faster," said the fox. So the boy got off his steed, patted on his back, and the horse went back to his home. The boy grabbed his things, got on the fox, and off they went, so fast that he could hear the wind going through his ears and his hair flying like the wind. And the fox said, "I am taking you to where the golden bird is, and I will tell you what to do." And so they went until they found a castle. The boy got off, and the fox said, "This is the castle where the golden bird is. Go inside when it is dark. You will find guards that are fallen asleep. Pay no heed, just go. And when you find the golden bird, you will find it in a shabby cage. Take it like that. Do not try to take the golden cage, for you will regret it." And the fox turned tail and left. So the boy waited until night. Then he crept tiptoed all the way to the castle, and he found the guards. And he went inside, and in the chamber he did find the golden bird. And right below was a beautiful cage. He crept up to the bird, but he looked down at the cage, the golden cage, and he thought, "This is such a beautiful bird. How could I possibly take this bird in a shabby cage? No, he must be mistaken. The fox must be mistaken." So very delicately he opened the shabby cage, grabbed the bird, and put it into the golden cage. And once the bird was inside, it started to scream and scream and scream so much that the guards woke up. They found the boy and grabbed him and put him in the dungeon. And he did regret it. In the morning, the guards took the boy up to the king, and everybody sentenced him to death. But the king said, "Unless you go on to the next kingdom and bring me back a golden steed, the fastest, most swiftest horse there ever was. If you bring that back to me, I will give you the golden bird." So the boy went out. And outside the castle, on the way to the next castle, was the fox. "Did I not tell you to heed my advice? Climb onto my back. I will take you to the next castle. You will take the horse, and then come back for the golden bird." So the boy mounted the fox, and off they went, and they ran so fast that the wind you could hear the wind in his ears, and his hair whished as fast as lightning. And so they came to the next castle. And the boy got off the fox, and the fox said, paid heed to my advice. When you go in, you will find the guards again fast asleep. But don't take the golden saddle. Use the leather saddle for the horse. For if not, you will regret it. And off he went. So the boy again waited until it was dark. And he tiptoed inside the castle into the barns. And there the guards were asleep. And he found the golden horse. And on the horse was a leather saddle. And as he approached it, his eyes went to a golden saddle. I told you this was a story of human frailty, because you probably guessed what was going to happen. Yes, he saw that golden saddle and he thought, well, look at this beautiful steed. How could I possibly take this ugly leather saddle? No, he must be wrong. I will take the golden saddle. So he did. He took off the leather saddle and then put on the golden saddle. And once it was strapped on, the horse started to neigh and scream and shout. And obviously, the guards awoke. And they took the boy, threw him in the dungeon again. And yes, he did regret it. And the next day, he was brought in front of king and court. In the court again, because he was going to steal the horse, condemned him to death. But the king said, however, I will save you and give you the golden horse if you bring me back the princess from yonder castle. If you bring her back, I will give you the golden horse. So they took the boy and threw him out of the castle. Again, he started walking towards the new castle where the princess was, and the fox was there. And he said, didn't I tell you not to do it? However, I know you are just another human. So I will help you again. Climb onto my back. I will take you to the next castle. So off he went. The boy climbed onto the fox, and they ran swiftly, so fast that the air you could hear on its ears, and its hair flashed out like with wind. Until they got to the third castle. The boy got off the fox, and the fox said, at midnight, the princess will come and go into a bath. Go up to her, tap her on the shoulder, and take her hand. She will notice this gesture and come with you. But beware, do not let her say goodbye to her parents or her family, for you will regret it. So the boy said he would. And he waited until midnight and tiptoed inside the castle, where he did find the princess. He tapped her on the shoulder and took her hand, and she recognized that and trusted. We don't know why. It was very strange. She was very willing to go with him, but she asked to say goodbye to her parents and her family. And the boy remembered the fox, and he was about to say no, but she started to cry and weep and beg and please until the boy, who had a good heart, relented. And so she went, tiptoed into her parents' chamber. But the cracking of the door blew their cover. And again, the guards woke up. They took the boy and threw him in the dungeons. The next day, he was presented before king and court. Again, he was sentenced to death, except the king said, only if you see that big mountain outside of my window. So the boy looked around and said, yes, he saw a big, huge mountain. And it was a hill, but it was almost a mountain. And the king said, if in 8 days you can take that away so that I can see all of my land, then I will give you the princess. So the boy was thrown out, and he went. And for 7 days and 7 nights, he took a shovel and he took out and he took out and he took out dirt. But on the seventh day, he knew he was not going to make it. So he sat down, regretting his own frailty. And the fox arrived. He sat down in front of the boy with stern eyes and looked at him and said, "Why don't you listen to my advice?" The boy, ashamed, looked down. "No worries. I will help you. You have worked very hard these 7 days. Rest." So the boy, weary as he was, got down and fell asleep. The next morning, on the 8th day, when he woke up, there was no hill, there was no mound, there was no mountain, and you can see the land stretched out and out and out. But the fox was nowhere to be seen. So the boy came back. The court was astonished, the king was astonished, and the boy said, "You promised me the princess if I took down the mountain." And grumbling, the king said, "All right." So the boy again tapped the princess on the shoulder and took her hand, and again, for some magical reason, she agreed. So off they went, and they went back to the castle. But before they were able to get there, they found the fox on the way. And the fox said, "Great! You have found it! You have got the princess, the horse, and the golden bird." But the boy said, "But I have to leave one of them." The fox said, "Not to worry. I will help you to keep all three. When we arrive at the castle, you will take the golden steed. You will present first the princess, of course, and you will take the golden steed, put on the golden saddle, and then ask to say goodbye. And the last person you will say goodbye will be the princess, and you will haul her up." So the boy did. He went to the castle, he presented the princess. The king was astonished, was happy, gave him the golden steed and the golden saddle. And the boy started to say goodbye to all of them. And lastly was the princess, which he grabbed on tightly, and so did she, and lifted her up, and off they went. And the horse was so fast, was so swift, that no other person could pursue them until they arrived to the first castle. But before they went in, the fox was there. He said, "Great! Now I will help you grab the golden bird. Leave the princess here. Take the horse. And when you arrive, go to the king. Show him the horse, but don't let go of it. Ask for the bird. And when you see it, grab hold of it, just in case, to make sure. Tell him that you want to make sure that it is the golden bird. And then when you have it, you put it back into the cage and take it with the horse and leave." So the boy did. He went to the castle, he presented the horse, but he did not let go of the horse. They brought him the golden bird in the golden cage, and he grabbed it, took it out, looked at it. He put it back, he closed it, and snatched it. And off he went on his golden steed out to pick up the princess, which she did, and off they went, running and running and running and running and running, until they finally were able to leave the castle. And the boy was so happy he had all three things. He found the fox on the way and he said, "Thank you for your advice, and I'm sorry for my weaknesses." He said, "No worries. We all have weaknesses, but the most important thing is to overcome them. Now I ask you for something." The boy was very ready to give him whatever, almost whatever, the fox wanted. And the fox said with a grave, grave voice, "I want you to cut my head and cut my feet and kill me." The boy said, "No, of course not. What type of reward is this?" And the fox looked with sad eyes. He said, "Very well. Then I will give you this last advice. When you go back, do not buy flesh from the gallows. And for what no other reason, do not sit by the river." Well, the boy agreed to that. What type of flesh would he probably want to buy from the gallows? And what there was no river around here. He would probably not sit by it. And so the fox, with sad eyes, said, "Farewell," and off he left. And the boy, with the princess and the bird, started to walk to his own castle. But on his way, he went by that village where the two inns were, you remember. And there was great turmoil. Well, what was going on? He asked one of the villagers. He said, "Oh, there's a hanging." He said, "Two robbers, two terrible thieves and thugs, yeah, they're going to be hanged." Well, that was terrible. And the boy said, "Well, there's nothing much I can do," until he saw who those two men were. And yes, they were his brothers. Well, he couldn't possibly allow his brothers, you know, to be hung. So he used up all this money that he could to ransom his two brothers. And the four went back. And the brothers who had turned very evil because they had lost everything and they turned to thieving to survive and being thugs, started to plan as to how to get rid of their little brother and keep the rewards for themselves. So they came up with a plan. They said, "Oh, it's so hot around here. Why don't we go get some water and refreshments?" And both the princess and the boy were very happy to go there. So they led him on where they found a river. And the boy sat down and whack. The brothers whacked him on the head, laid him unconscious, and threw him into the river. And the two brothers took the princess, the golden bird, and the golden steed and went off back, bragging on how they had actually gotten them. But the princess, the steed, and the golden bird knew them. And even though they were scared, they would weep, they would not sing, and they would not eat. And off they went, the brothers, back to the castle. And they said that their brother was destroyed, it was long gone, and they had brought back with much turmoil, with much effort, the princess, the golden bird, and the golden steed. But all was not lost. The boy sunk down the river, and then there was a splash from the top. And even though he was a little bit unconscious, he felt a tug, and he felt how, as he was going up and up and up, and splash, he came out and breathed air. And when he opened his eyes, he saw the fox helping him, dragging him all the way to the shore. The boy did not know what to say, for he had remembered what the fox said to him. But the fox said, "It was your good heart, and you did not believe that your brothers who had turned extremely evil would do something to you. But no worries, there is still hope. Climb onto my back, and I will take you home." And off they went, swift as the wind, all the way back home to the castle, to his own castle. And there was much joy and much weeping at the same time in the castle, for the father loved all his sons, but mostly his youngest son. The princess was sad and crying. The bird would not sing, and the horse would not eat. And even though the brothers were happy and merrymaking with a feast, the king was somewhat doubtful and a little bit grave, until finally there was a bang at the door, and opened the door they did, and there stood the youngest son. And the father, astonished and happy, went off and ran to his son and hugged him. And the princess did the same. She recognized the boy. And afterwards, the bird started to sing, and the horse started neighing and came up to him. The boy told them how his brothers tried to kill him. And the king, well, he believed him. But do you know why? Because he had heard reports of two men, of two thugs that were wreaking havoc in his kingdom. And so they were sentenced to jail for the rest of their lives. Not to death. No, he couldn't put that. They were the gardener's sons, a gardener he trusted. And he told the boy, "Well, what do you want?" And he said, "Whoa, before you tell, I have a proposal for you. For you are agile, you are clever, and I have no heir." You can probably imagine what happened next. He did become the heir. He did marry the princess. They were very happy. But afterwards, when he was strolling along with his princess, he found the fox again. And the fox said, "Will you give me my reward?" "Of course," said the new young prince. "What is it?" "Cut off my head and cut off my feet and kill me." "But why must I do this?" said the boy. "Please," said the fox. So the boy with a heavy heart took his sword and cut off the fox's head and cut off his feet. But just at that moment, there came a shimmer from the fox, and there, lying on the ground, was no longer a fox, but a man. And when he stood up, the princess gave a great shout, for the man was her long lost brother who had been bewitched long ago, and they had him for dead. And this was the opportunity he was waiting for, a young man to help find his sister and to help him recover to be a man. And so, did they live happily ever after? I'll let you decide. Well, I hope you enjoyed The Golden Bird. Um, this is a Grimm's tale. It is a little bit a longer tale, which I do enjoy my long tales. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Always reaping the goods of a good collab. As you guys know, that's a way to appreciate, the artist. Thank you very much. So this story I actually found on a podcast, which is great because I love listening to stories, and it's really difficult to find nowadays a really good podcast that just tells you the story as it is. I did have some slight variations. If you guys want to investigate the story by yourselves, it is on the internet. Excuse me. And I know that there are different versions. There is one version in which it's the king's sons who go out, which is a little bit more, kind of logical. And also, uh, there are some versions. There are some versions that it's the son, when he finds the princess, he gives him a kiss, and obviously, or the brothers throw him into a well instead of a river. So these are all small details that you can find in different stories. So it's a great story. It does, just like Duna Dan said here, they always ignore the advice. Yes. So yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to you know, to listen to other people, but these stories actually, they portray wisdom. They tell us what we should start, taking into account. And usually foxes are animals that are very not only wise, but they're very intelligent. Sometimes they're sneaky and they're kind of tricksters. In this case, the fox was obviously the good one. It was a great person. It was the brother. So that was a plot twist that when I heard the first time, it was like, boom, it's like, whoa, it was the brother. It's like, I didn't see that coming. Great plot twist. I'm like, this is great. This is a great story. So I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And look, it's Blaze. Hey, Blaze. Thank you so much for coming. Blaze is on another part of the world, and it's pretty late actually for him, I think. So glad you could make it for the last few minutes. You did not know it all along, Tabitha. You did not know it was a brother. You so did not. Well, I'll give you the benefit of doubt. It did catch me. I mean, I didn't know it. For me, it was just like, bang. You're like, well, it was strange for me to hear that the fox actually wanted um actually wanted to say, like, to be like killed, but obviously it was a great plot twist. So, oh, and I have to, okay, it is 4:50 a.m. Oh my god, and you're leaving for work. Well, I hope you have a really good day, Blaze. And I have to say, a very, very big hug. So this is my aunt Carla Goser. She is a storyteller, a performing artist, a theater director, a screen. She writes scripts for theater. Tia Carla, it says in Spanish, a big hug, negrita, which means the little blackie. That's my nickname in my family. I am la negrita. Lots of success. I hope I hear you tell in Spanish, so I will say this in Spanish. Tía Carla, muchísimas gracias por estar. Efectivamente, bueno, mis cuentos ahorita son en inglés porque mi público, la mayoría es en inglés. Entonces, pero me da mucha alegría poder saber que tú estás ahí escuchando, porque también es la voz, es el performance, ¿no? Como yo cuento una historia en que, pues, es lo que también da mucho que decir. Entonces, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. Es un gran apoyo, ¿no? So, and oh, so Art, I wish Art2 was here to, okay, was here to hear your nickname. Well, I mean, the thing is that I am of a darker shade in the side of the family. My dad is a darker shade, and my mom is not so much. I got more from my dad, so my nickname is Negrita, which is a very endearing name. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. It is almost an hour to the live stream. I want to thank you all for coming, and I will be preparing some more news stories for you guys. It is a blast always to be telling stories, and hopefully, also, I would like to have your input as to what stories you would like to hear again. We have Cherry of Zener. We have East of the Sun, West of the Moon. We have the Soul Cages. It has been 1-2 years since I've told these stories. I could tell them again. Just leave them in the chat, or in the comments below. In Spanish, so that I think I have a few other people who are Spanish speakers. Entonces, muchísimas gracias por estar en esta sesión. Ya estamos llegando a la hora, así que aquí vamos a dejarlo. Si tienen alguna historia que les gustaría escuchar, ya sea de mis episodios pasados o de ahora, o cuentos nuevos, escríbelos en el chat. Dímelo, escribe en los comentarios. No se olviden de suscribirse, de darle like a ese botón, ayuda muchísimo al algoritmo. Y bueno, pues nada más que buenas noches. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, somebody likes Mr. Fox. Absolutely. I will have that prepared for you, Dreaming Tabitha. You know it. I know you like that one. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks with a new story. So stay tuned. Good night, everybody.